Well, good evening, book lovers. Welcome to another edition of Cath-Lit Live. I am your host, Amy Cattapan. You can find me everywhere on social media under my pen name, AJ Cattapan, or on my website, ajcattapan.com. I'm so excited to bring you my second guest of 2022, who's going to be talking about her new novel. But before I get to her, a couple of housekeeping things. Number one, this show is sponsored in part by the Hello Prayer app. If you haven't checked it out yet, go to hello.app/cathlitlive. This is a fabulous prayer app you are going to want to check out. It has so many different options for prayer, plus sermons by priests like Bishop Barron, Father Mike Schmitz, wonderful sleep stories read by Mario Lopez, comedian Jennifer Frohweiler, gospel passages read by TV Jesus himself, Jonathan Rumi from The Chosen. Go check it out. If you use our link, hello.app/cathlitlive, not only do you get a free premium trial with access to all the content, and boy, is there a lot of it on Hello app right about now, but you also help support our show. So please go check it out. Second little housekeeping thing. Some people have been asking about my pilgrimage to Italy. Yes, I am doing a pilgrimage to Italy this summer with my friend Father Andy Medicevich, and we are having an info meeting on Zoom next week, Tuesday, on January 25th at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. So go to my website, ajcattapan.com/Italy, to learn more about that pilgrimage and how you can come travel with us. If you've been following me for a while, you know how much I love Italy and how much I love going there. So I can't wait to show people my favorite saints and my favorite places in Italy. So come check that out. Well, tonight's guest is Ellen Gable. She's an award-winning author of 12 books and a contributor to numerous others. Ellen is also a self-publishing book consultant, editor, NFP teacher, marriage preparation instructor, and theology of the body teacher. She and her husband, James Hercash, are the parents of 5 adult sons, ages 22 to 34, grandparents to 2 precious grandchildren, and they live in Pakenham, Ontario. In her spare time, Ellen enjoys playing trivia games, genealogy, and watching classic movies and reading on her Kindle. And she's here today to talk about her new book, Where Angels Pass. Please welcome Ellen Gable. Hello, Ellen.
Hey, Amy, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing great.
Well, thank you for joining me. I've shared your bio with everyone and said we're here to talk about your new book, Where Angels Pass. Tell us what this book is about.
So basically, Where Angels Pass tells the parallel stories of Evie, who is based on me, and her father, Hank, who is based on my father, and starts with Hank's sudden death. Then there are flashback chapters to Hank's troubled life, alternating with Evie's challenging journey to adulthood, culminating in the discovery that her father had been abused by a Catholic priest when he was a freshman in high school.
Heavy topic.
Very heavy.
Yeah,
very heavy.
Different from the other things that you've written, right? You have a number of other novels out there, but this one with clerical abuse, why go there? Why did you feel it was important for this topic to be out there?
Well, because it's a personal topic for me. My father was abused by a priest, and I felt it was time his story needed to be told. You know, sometimes we think about sex abuse victims, we think about these nameless people, and, you know, each victim is or was a living, breathing, irreplaceable image of God. They experienced something that no young person should have to experience. And I'm sure that it affected their lives like it affected my father's life. So I was a teenager when he passed away, very suddenly and unexpectedly. And when I was 2 years old, he had a nervous breakdown. So he was in a mental hospital for about 6 months. Then he couldn't find a job because nobody would hire him just coming out of the mental hospital. Then he battled alcoholism and was on and off the wagon too many times to count. So after his death, when we found out that he had been abused, everything kind of made sense about his life. We understood better why he drank, why he had a nervous breakdown, and that sort of thing. And when I was researching and watching online videos with clerical abuse victims, I realized that my father's story was not unique, unfortunately. And in writing this book, I wanted to share one family's struggles with, kind of this wound, but I also wanted to give voice to all of the other victims and victims' families and that sort of thing. Again, they're not just names. They were living, breathing, irreplaceable and unrepeatable images of God. So since my book has been published, I've received quite a few emails and messages from victims and from their families thanking me for writing this book. And, for the majority of the Catholic laity and perhaps some clergy, clerical abuse is a topic that maybe they would rather sweep under the rug. Mm-hmm. And I get it. I totally get it. And I hear about so many Catholics leaving the faith and leaving the church because of the scandal. And I get it. I really do get that. But my father never left the church up until his death, and he was a victim. So taking his example, will never leave the Catholic Church because of the abuse scandal. And I'm glad that it's out there and in the open now more, because people are talking about it more. People are, they're trying to come up with ways to help the victims, and, church authorities are trying to help. Pope Francis talked about help for victims. So it's really made the difficult topic much more talked about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's wonderful that you're bringing a voice and I think a face to something that, like you said, like we like to sweep under the rug, right? People, or just want to make it like that faceless group. And
Right.
you're actually reminded of my dissertation topic, which was about using fiction really to bring historical things to life, because we can read something in a textbook or in some nonfiction book, and it's like, well, it's those people I don't know. But in fiction, we can bring these characters to life, right? We
Absolutely.
can humanize them.
Right.
So what are you hoping people will get out of this book when they read it?
Well, several things probably. Firstly, my father was betrayed by someone he trusted, and many Catholics feel betrayed by the clergy and by the church hierarchy. So through the character of Evie, I wanted to show those varying degrees of emotions: anger, betrayal, rage, shock, and finally forgiveness, because forgiveness is a very important part of this whole story. Secondly, it was important for me to have a confrontation between Evie and her father's abuser, so that in one way the reader could feel a sense of justice. And I also wanted to feel that sense of justice. And third, I wanted the reader to understand that even though there are many bad priests out there, there are also many good, faithful priests who are doing their best to be faithful and do the best they can for their parishioners. And they're not bad priests, and they don't deserve to be lumped in with abusers.
Yeah, those are all important messages, I think, to get out there. So I imagine this must have been in some ways very challenging, but also in some ways kind of cathartic.
Very much so.
Right? Loosely based on true events in your own life. Can you talk about that for a bit? What were the challenging parts, and how did this just affect you, the writing of it?
Well, because I was in essence writing about real people and real experiences, that was very challenging. I was just a teen when he passed away, and it took many years to gain the courage to actually sit down and write. I tried a few times in the last 10 or so years, and I just couldn't get past the first page.
Mm.
And so this time when I sat down, I knew it would be difficult. And so I started, and once I started, I really couldn't stop.
Mm.
I basically sat at my computer for 12 hours a day, every day, including Sunday, for 3 weeks, and finished the first draft. First book I ever wrote the first draft in only 3 weeks. Now it's gone through many edits and that sort of thing. But several times a day I had to step away and have a good cry, because a lot of these experiences I was kind of experiencing them all over again, like the death of my father and when he would go on and off the wagon. But I think the toughest part for me was when Evie, kind of based on my character, meets her father's abuser. I wanted to make this a learning experience for the reader and for the character. And that was the part of the book that took so long to write, because I had to get that right. Otherwise, the novel would just fall. And the other thing, and leaving it in a positive way, one reviewer said that this book is very much a love story between a daughter and her father. Now, I didn't set out to write a love story about my father, but I was very much a daddy's girl. And I loved writing about all of the fun little things he did to make our family life happier. He did this one thing where every Saturday or every Sunday, he would take one of the 4 kids and go somewhere, just him and whichever kid it was. And I remember every time he took me out by myself, he took me to Phillies games at Vet Stadium before it was torn down. He took me to see the Liberty Bell. He took me to the Wax Museum. He took me to the library. It was the first time I realized I could actually bring 10 books home from the library. It was really fun. And he really instilled in me a love of reading and learning, which is really great. And my father also was a writer. He wrote articles and essays and stories in order to help him cope after he had his nervous breakdown. And I included quite a few of his comments from different stories and essays in the book as dialogue. So when he's speaking, he's saying things that he actually wrote. So in many respects, he was my co-author for the book, and the book is dedicated to him.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for I think just the courage to write this story, and for being willing to just share yourself and your story with my viewers and with all the readers that you're going to have for this book. I really pray it ends up in the hands of those people who most need to read it. I think you're already seeing how it's resonating with some people in the letters that you're getting, the emails that you're getting.
Yes, absolutely.
So if people want to find out more about you and your books, where can they look?
Well, first, Full Quiver Publishing, that's our company. It's fullquiverpublishing.com, and also my blog, ellengable.com. And I'm available on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all those things as Ellen Gable.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on tonight, Ellen.
Thanks for having me, Amy.
All right. Great to talk to you. I hope we get to see each other in person again sometime soon.
Me too. Me too. You take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, everyone. We'll say goodbye to Ellen. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on another episode of Cath-Lit Live. Show Ellen some love, like this video, leave a comment. She's written a lot. There's a lot of books in Full Quiver Publishing, so go check them out. And until next time, everybody, happy reading.